Oh, right then. Wilfredo's here. Already straight out the gate with the hot take chat from Wilfredo. That's what we like to see. Hello, Chris and everyone here today. Hello, Wilfredo. That purple Nemesis small really looks like a Klingon, but it'll look great once it's painted. I hope Hasbro makes him just shy of 7 inches. Yes, no messing. Hi, Wilfredo. You're chomping at the bit for the quality action figure chat this evening. Check you out. Oh, my camera's a bit dark. Is that a bit dark? Press that button, turn that up. That's a bit better, although now I feel like far too bright. Let's go back down to there. There you go. I'm more reserved. And then let's just press my face to make sure autofocus is on me. Hey, Jono is here. Jonathan, Mr. Redmond. Hey, Chris and chat. Slightly smiling face. Slightly smiling face. Yeah, Wilfredo. Glad you got the notification early. Well, I'm glad you got the notification early too, Wilfredo. So do you prefer Will, Fredo, Fred, Doe? What's the common shortening of your name, Wilfredo? Let me know. Or do you prefer the full Wilfredo? Oh dear. Will. Tell you what, guys, how my life has changed. I got a new label maker today and got really excited about my new label maker. It connects by Bluetooth to your phone, so you can make the labels on your phone and print them off. It's very exciting. That's the world. That's the middle-aged man dream, a label maker. I've got a bits box, which is under the desk down here. Would you like to see my bits box? There it is, my bits box. Well, one of them. Under this desk is my main storage solution for a variety of things. Can I interest anyone in a Tupperware of backpacks? And then I got this one here. There we go, another one. All these little bits boxes with a variety of stuff. I don't know if you can hear me actually while I'm under the desk. With a variety of stuff. Wasn't that an episode of The Simpsons about 20 years ago? Getting excited about a label maker. I don't recall specifically, however, I cannot dispute that. That sounds accurate. You're generating a little echo of recognition there. Yeah. So that's the purpose of my new label maker. It prints off these little tiny labels. They're not very big. And I'm going to start labeling up the drawers. So I know what's Marvel Legends heads from my G.I. Joe classified machine guns and stuff. Hey, hi, Bobby. Will says, I was looking into getting a label maker myself. Well, I can recommend this one. It's been very good so far. This is what is it? A Nelco. Although it's become very apparent to me that label makers make their money on the paper label refills. That the actual label maker itself comes at a low cost. But then once they've got you, you see how much your replacement labels are. And that's where they get you. And Bobby's here. Hiya, Bobby. Hey, folks, did everybody see Bobby's guest appearance on... Oh, Jesus, Bobby, what was the name of the guy's channel you were on? Pop a link in the chat, Bobby. Everyone should go see Bobby's appearance, showing off his sexy dioramas on the in the live stream that he did. Absolutely great to see Bobby Dubs live and for realsies. But so the label maker. Curious, actually. I was going to make a post about this, then didn't. Aaron the Toy Enhancer. There you go, folks. Go check out Bobby on Aaron the Toy Enhancer. By all means, Bobby, grab a link to the video and put it in chat. I don't believe links are restricted on here because I post links myself. But yeah, I got those bits boxes, and that's where I keep all my spare guns and heads and backpacks and all that kind of stuff. But how do you folks file your surplus stuff away? I'm curious. Jono was about to ask, what was it like, were they milky on the ink? Yes, it absolutely is. Yeah, absolutely is. Now, thankfully, I have a low label making requirement that's under the amount that comes, because you get some included when you make your purchase. So it comes under the amount, but one day I may want to label more things, and then it will be a problem. And my daughter saw it, and she got very excited. I'm like, what do you want a label? What do you need a label maker for? So I'm going to have a little sit down, get them all labelled up. ML heads, GI, JC heads. And then I got little drawers for I started one for bladed weapons now, so I got all the bladed weapons in, and then that Kamakura bloody spear thing, too long. And I was looking at the Jinx one and thinking that bugger's going to be too long for me drawer in there as well. So, yeah, first world problems. All that, I suppose. Jono says he keeps everything in the boxes. Are you meaning box, are you, Jono? You an MIB? MIB, yeah, you know me. And Will says, I labelled and numbered the totes and write it down in a notebook. Which tote has what in it? I see. Okay, yeah. I've got some little baggies. So there's a game I play called Dice Masters, and the dice for it come in these little clear baggies. Lighted by a 20 bag in from the corner, basically. And they're quite handy for stuff, dropping stuff in. So some things that are really character specific, like my anniversary edition Captain America. I've put all his, the ricochet effects on his shield and that into a little baggie, so it's all kind of kept together. So anything that's very character specific, but like G.I. Joe, your more generic stuff. Anything that doesn't fit on the figure itself, boom, straight in there. Random knife on a snow serpent, in it goes. Extras, swords, whatever goes. Pistol stuff, my Valaverse weapon packs are in there, those kind of things. So that blue and black one is just exclusively G.I. Joe classified now. I've seen some folks, they buy like pencil case containers, don't they? And they put the figure in with the accessories in a pencil case container. I thought, that's not a bad idea, because I've got all my big blue boxes in my massive cupboard over here. And I thought I'd do that. And then I went and looked at how much the pencil cases are, and it's like 20 quid for 4. I thought, well, by the time I've put all my figures, all my collection in a thing, I could have bought, 20 quid. Well, I say could have. You've got 2/3 of a new figure in there. Oh, what's Bobby saying now? He's criticising my display, is he? Give me some pointers. Why is Angel so low on your shelf? Wings like that, he should be up high. Yeah, but I moved him down so that he was on camera. So there is an explanation. You guys have probably seen my yellow submarine is a permanent fixture right at the top. But I moved these figures up and down proportionally to go to make sure that they were on camera. And that's because I've got a little bundle of figures down here waiting for a review. My Techno Viper's down there, although Metalhead's on my desk right now, which may give you some indication as to what what the next review on the channel is going to be, who the desk figure is at the minute. UB Play N, hey Chris, glad I could catch you live. Hope all well, my man. Yeah, really good. Cheers. I hope all is well with you as well, UB Play. Let me know what's going on. Let me know what's going on, dude. All right, well, there's a few folks here. Let's get started. I'm sure some others might roll in eventually, but let's begin with this week's installment of...
Listen to your friend Chris.
where I ask you to listen to me, your friend Chris, talk about my life and times as an adult collector over the last week. And as always, I've got my little window box here to share some shared kind of news items, discussion topics and stuff that you guys can obviously get into some commentary and conversation with me about in chat itself. But as usual, I imagine there'll be a number of kind of tangents and cul-de-sacs that we find ourselves traveling down as the stream goes on. Going to shoot for about an hour, probably no more than an hour and a half. Especially at this time, I've got to go to the office, the real office tomorrow. So we'll get into the prepared material, and then intermittently every now and again I will stop and take a look at what's going on in chat and share it on screen just here, like I'll do now with UB Play N's latest post. Just enjoying the weather over here in Florida. No hurricanes, and it hasn't gotten into the triple digits yet. Ooh. Yeah, spring is most definitely here. My patented spring detectors are going off. I can tell you, my eyes have been burning for days. Yeah, Florida. Okay. Very good. Weird little button going on. So let's get into the prepared material, shall we? And I've got plenty of notes. You see that there? Plenty of notes. I've written a bullet point kind of scripted things to talk about today because there's been some stuff that caught my eye, and I'm going to start with some G.I. Joe stuff. That's where I'm going to begin today. I know you guys are big G.I. Joe fans. I think the vast majority of people who follow my channel are largely here for the G.I. Joe Classified related coverage. And there's been quite a few things going on in the world of G.I. Joe. Have a quick slurp of my tea. So where shall I start? Which is the first picture I put up? Okay, yeah, so Will, time, revisit your comment from earlier. The Nemesis Enforcer head sculpt leaks. So these went around the socials like wildfire, but I believe the original source was Laserpants over on Instagram from the 3POA podcast. In fact, because it is courteous to do so, I'll drop a link to Laserpants' Instagram page there in chat, although it might not be there for very long, because when I took the link down, I went to his page to capture the link, and he's got a big post saying, I've been copyright claimed. I might get my Instagram page frozen or deleted or whatever. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I was planning on sharing your Insta page, dude. But in any case, Laserpants had a hookup with someone over in China who wishes to remain anonymous, but they've obviously they're in the factory workshops there, and these two heads hit the news. So a lot of folks, certainly won't have been the first that you follow talking about these two heads. I think Artist Shark, the big boys, Artist Shark and Full Force Podcast and the like have all had a bit of a chat about this, but looks really interesting. I saw a few folks giving that head over there a bit of flack, saying it looks like a Klingon, and I can certainly appreciate where they're coming from with regards to that perspective for sure, but the one that's nearer to me here has clearly got a much more classic Nemesis. I keep saying Nemesis Enforcer. Obviously, it's now Nemesis Immortal. But that looks like a more classic look, kind of movie inspired head sculpt. Couldn't find the word inspired in my head then. So this is looking cool, obviously showing the wheels in motion, contributing to what I'm sensing. I feel like there's a bit of something in the air for like Yojo June's on the way, San Diego Comic-Con's on the way. So there's a little bit of excitement, a little bit of momentum building. Stuff like this is leaking out. So yeah, really excited to see that coming through. Now, whether that means he's close enough to arrive for Yojo June, I'm not so sure. I don't know. I was trying to remember last year, because I remember last year was it last year? Maybe the year before. The bat head sculpts leaked. Same setup, the bat head on the end of someone's finger, or it had been found in a trash can out back or something. And that leaked. and then I think the bat was revealed not too long after. So I don't know if that's an indicator of the timeline, whether anyone has actually monitored and done some analysis of the timeline between a leak of that nature to it coming on through. But it's going to be a big boy exclusive, not exclusive, what do they call it? Deluxe box figure there for sure. And just to sort of reinforce that, we've got UB Play Ends comments there. Excited to see the body that goes with the big man. I'm sure they'll do him justice, but I hope they nail those wings. And I think that's, I think that's a sentiment that's well shared across the community. I have seen, again, some folks in the socials kind of giving it all a bit of the old, nah, not for me, Cobra Last sucks, the movie was pants, yada, yada, yada. But, and I know I've said this, I think, to a couple of you guys before, who've sort of been around my channel and been a member of my viewing community for a while, that for me in the UK, G.I. Joe the movie was as a young lad, was my first experience of animated G.I. Joe. Up until then, my G.I. Joe collecting had been Action Force figures, and it had been because of the Action Force comics. I'm looking around because I had some Action Force comics out earlier. Oh, they're all the way. Can you see that? There they are. You see them on the top of that box there. I was going through. They're my dupes, actually. I was going through sorting them out. They're all, for whatever reason, I've got 2 copies of each of them. So it was, it had a significant impact on me, G.I. Joe the movie, and I have a very special love for it because it was the first time I ever engaged with animated G.I. Joe. And you really can't. I mean, like that initial Pythona scene, just so vivid in my memory. It's up there with these kind of scenes that have a marked impact on you as a child. And, running through and throwing those little bug things onto the Crimson Guards and jumping through the closing doors and all that, and the trouble bubbles going past with the lights up the side of the base. And yeah, so I know there's some folks, obviously, who in hindsight or in retrospective are saying they're not fans of the G.I. Joe the movie and the Cobra Last stuff is a bridge too far. But it's all, the cartoon, when you go back and watch it, it's all really sci-fi goofy stuff, and Cobra La's like super sci-fi goofy stuff. It's, so I'm also excited for Nemesis Enforcer, but I share that sentiment of, God, I hope they get the wings right. So, in fact, Bobby, was it you who posted the comment on my Angel review saying, Angel's not for me, but it's a good sign that Hasbro can do good wings, Although Nemesis Enforcers was more bat-like, wasn't it? More kind of sort of like a demonic bat sort of wing shape. But yeah, lots. I've got high hopes for this guy as well. Let's see what else is going on in chat. Jonathan Redmond, head looks cool, very current comic vibe to it. Yeah, so I was going to mention this a little later on, but I'll bring it up now. So Full Force and A Toy Kind of Mood have both recently had panel interviews with Emily, Lenny, and Tony from the G.I. Joe Classified design teams, marketing teams, but G.I. Joe Classified teams. And they were asked one of the questions, I think it was Chris over at Full Force had gathered in some viewer questions to ask them. There was a question about the Skybound comic inspiration. Is there a loop going on there? Are they coordinating, because there's a number of characters that turned up in the comic books that have got, like Zorana, got a real classified vibe to her, and whether there was a connection. And they kind of played it a bit coy, but did hint at like further kind of Skybound related stuff coming. Again, talking about Yojo June, I'm just in the midst of recording and editing a video about some Yojo June excitement and predictions, and kind of gathering in all the stuff that I know. And I mentioned in there that I think there's probably going to be some comic book related stuff, because they always do like a little piece, don't they? It's not all just G.I. Joe Classified, is it? So yeah, absolutely. But also, can we just pause and say that Nemesis Enforcer's appearance in the Cobra Commander comic book was badass? You know what I mean? John O. Redmond, I'm hearing a lot of talk that this figure will be an SDC exclusive. So that's interesting, because the next kind of leak, although this is a little bit old, was this Raptor sculpt that cropped up. Now, I picked this up off Full Force, but so I don't. Apologies to the original source. I don't know who you were, but it was the Full Force podcast that this hit my radar from. And I heard that this was going to be the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, the Raptor. So, I mean, it could go either way. There's no reason to think either is correct or either is wrong, really, at this point. But I'm just bringing it up because I heard that too. So San Diego Comic-Con is July the 25th to the 28th. Although I haven't seen anything about when things like the panels are. Whether Hasbro's doing a panel with some reveals and stuff. But even if they're not, they always chuck cheeky little things into the glass cabinets and what have you, don't they? So there you go. And then Bobby says, I hope it's not one of those Comic-Con exclusive type deals. Yeah, Comic-Con exclusives are interesting. I mean, I made a video about like Comic-Con exclusives, a pain in the arse or not. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. For us in the UK, with G.I. Joe Classified specifically, because we've got this kind of Hasbro Pulse exclusivity thing, the Comic-Con exclusives tend to turn up. You just got to be a bit hot on your F5 on the day it comes out to grab one on pre-order day. Otherwise, because I know a lot of folks who went disappointed around Serpentor, Mindbender, and Chuckles over here in the United Kingdom. The Snake Man, Coco Pipeline. Yeah, so Just a Man. So there's a big potential focus on the movie related content. Oh hey, here we go, a few more arrivals. Everyone say hello to Connor, and everybody say hello to Gerard. Nice to see you, gentlemen. Will says, I'm thinking they might give us two wings, one closed and the other opened, like as if he's gliding. Yeah, I think, or they'll do something with articulated functionality like they did with Angel. What would be nice, though, is that, so one of the sort of classic moves that Nemesis Enforcer does in the movie, like Serpentor's like, Nemesis Enforcer, help me! And he flies over, doesn't he? And he scoops his wings around Serpentor, and he's all bulletproof and stuff. So whether they do two sets of wings or whether they do something articulated like that is my sincerest hope that the articulation will allow for that, that protective shell thing, or like getting the wings in front of him like a little bulletproof shield. That would be fun. There's Gerard saying hellos. Bobby confirming that it was him that commented on the Angel video. And just quickly, I'm just going to jump forward because G-Force is there. How you doing, G-Force? I hope you're good, my man. And then jump back to Wilfredo here. So, Will, I love the G.I. Joe the movie, and I'm excited to see all the other Cobra La characters. Yeah, so what's on the list? I mean, a Globulus, a Pythona, the sort of Cobra La, what do they call them? Royal Guard folks. And that's kind of it then. You're kind of done for Cobra La, aren't you? I never read any of the comic book story arcs where Cobra La came back around in the comic books, but I think that's it, really, in terms of your opportunity there. There is, on the unreleased list, again, to jump ahead to a video I'm planning on putting out soon, there is on the so Full Force podcast, they've got that great breakdown of all the code word, like retail codes, and there's a 2-pack troop builder in there. And I heard, again, it's grapevine stuff though, so take it with a pinch of salt. I heard on the grapevine, or there was some wishful thinking about a 2-pack of the Royal Guards in there. So we'll see. But yeah, it's nice to see them sort of. And Lenny has said many times, nothing is off the table. Nothing's off the table. So you'll get your what's his name, Sergeant. Was this? No, not Sergeant Slaughter. What was the guy's name? We never had the cartoon over here in the UK. The weird spin-off with the guy, the Captain America like kind of guy who was woken up. Sergeant Smash, Sergeant something. I don't know. Can't remember. So I've lost my train of thought now. So Joe, Hasbro did an awesome job on the MCU Vulture's wings. Oh, the Michael Keaton character. See, I pay no attention to MCU related figures at all. Not a bit. So I'd have to go and have a look at that and see what you're talking about. But it appears to me, broadly speaking, Jono, that you're a guy who knows what he's talking about. So I'm quite happy to take your word on that, and I'll have a look at a picture after we're finished up here today. More hellos, more welcomes, everybody catching up. And down to Jono. Wasn't Pythona a name reveal a stream ago? No, well, no, I don't think it was. Or at least I don't think she's on any of the name-only lists that I've seen. What I do remember there was a conversation with Emily, and when they sort of said to her, who's your favourite character that we've not had yet? I think she said Pythona's my favourite character. That we've not had yet, because she's a badass chick who, takes down all who come before her, except obviously Jinx. And then Lenny sort of chimed in, and there was a sort of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Emily's favourite character, one day soon kind of thing. But I don't think it was actually formally like, here's your pipeline name reveal of Pythona. But I could be wrong. Things come out across so many different sort of channels and outlets all over the place that it's so hard to keep a track of, which is kind of why I'm putting that Yojo June speculation video together that I'll be posting, probably be next week now, because I've been finding it difficult to kind of keep it all contained. And a lot of the information is tucked away in long, full force podcast 2-hour streams, and the nugget that you're after is right in the center kind of thing. Or I suppose you could watch Viper Island, but who'd do that? Hey, Brian's here. Welcome, Brian. I hope you're well, my friend. Everyone's saying hi. So yeah, Raptor and Nemesis Enforcer. Just checking my notes to make sure I've covered everything I planned on saying there. Yeah, so the links of this nature have proven to be accurate and reliable in the past. This backdoor connection to the Chinese warehouse or whatever, the Chinese factory, seems to have come through in previous instances. So I think these two, the Nemesis Enforcer and the Raptor, are accurate. And the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, whichever one of the two it turns out to be, will be July the 25th to the 28th. So there we go. Okay, more G.I. Joe news though, folks. The G.I. Joe stuff does not stop there, because on one of those two interviews I've just mentioned, a Toy Kind of Mood or Full Force podcast, they dropped a reveal that there was going to be a Falcon 2-pack that was going to be coming out. And the subsequent speculation off the back of that was that it was going to be the Night Force Falcon, because Night Force Falcon, as you can see here, came in a 2-pack originally back in 88, maybe 89 off the top of my head, with Sneak Peek. But then they went on to say that it's going to be a bad guy included in the 2-pack. So, get your guesses in the chat now. I've got some speculative thoughts about that. That's in the script for the Yojo June speculation video that I'm working on. But bad guy, maybe an Iron Grenadier. I don't know. They like Night Force and Iron Grenadiers were around the same time. Or they mentioned that they were going to do potentially a re-release of Serpentor at some point, and that would definitely make sense because of their connection with regards to the movie. Or maybe that's where Pythona turns up. Who knows? So I'd be very interested to see how that pans out. We've got a few folks rolling in here now. Let's just take a pause to say hi to the real Zim. Sup, guys? Sup, dude? And Fluffle. Hey, Fluffle, how you doing? So a few folks all rolling in. Late to the party. Don't worry about it. We're just chatting it through. Then Connor's here. We're owed a new Falcon face sculpt. So in the interview, they did... I must apologise, because what I often do is I put this stuff on I've got a TV up here. That's why I'm pointed over there. I put the stuff on the telly, and I just kind of treat it like radio in the background when I'm working from home, because I work from home in here. And so they're often playing in the background, and I'll be focusing on a piece of work. My job requires me to work with a lot of documents and make PowerPoints and things all the time. So I might be clicking away and sorting something out, and then they'll say something. I'll be like, "Oh, what was that?" And then I try and rewind it to go back and hear what the thing was. And I feel like in the interview, getting to Connor's point there, they mentioned that they'd heard the feedback. They take on board both the positive and the negative feedback with regards to Falcon's head, with some degree of an implication that the new release was going to have a Falcon head change, which made me wonder, actually. So spoiler alert, I'm just going to say it, even though I don't want to be saying stuff today that I'm planning on putting in another video, but it made me wonder. There's a Falcon two-part episode in the DIC cartoon run that was the drug addiction episodes. Bobby, so Bobby's dead good with this stuff. Bobby will fill in any gaps here. But if I remember rightly, Headman and his headhunters are drug dealing, and Falcon starts buying performance-enhancing drugs from them to make himself like a better Joe, but it doesn't work like that, and he ends up coming off the rails. And I just wondered if it was going to be a kind of a slight, whether they were going to go sort of DIC style with it, and whether the villain in the 2-pack was going to be Headman, or wasn't there a headhunter with ginger hair who was like a maskless one? We'll wait and see. Let's see. Let Bobby roll in on this one, because Bobby knows his stuff better than me. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was the Headman episodes, 2 episodes where Headman and Falcon was the Joe that had got, and then Duke has a big mard about it, and he goes flying, and then he gets into a fight with a what are the pilots in the DIC called? I can't remember, but they get into a bit of a dogfight, and they both parachute out. And Duke says, as they're parachuting down, like, "Oh, if I wasn't so pissed off with my brother for becoming a drug addict." And the Viper says, "Me too." And they team up to stop Headman from dealing drugs. I'm sure I may be remembering that incorrectly, but I feel like there was just this funny scene where the two are parachuting down, just chatting on the way down about their family members who are addicted to Headman's drugs. Oh dear, DIC is a whole other beast. So I did wonder, going back to the head sculpt controversy, whether this 2-pack is going to give us a reinterpretation of Falcon that's the DIC interpretation, and the villain that they've alluded to that's going to take the second slot in the 2-pack would be Headman, or his ginger-haired, drug-dealing right-hand dude or whatever. So there you go. Place your bets now, folks. That's my guess. Odin, your phone. Have they name dropped Desert Scorpion? Okay, yeah, I put Desert Scorpion on here. So I've heard out and about on the grapevine that there has been a leak of a Desert Scorpion head sculpt that Viper Island had. However, I'm just going to call it out for what it is. I won't watch Viper Island, or refuse to watch Viper Island, so did not watch the video that it appeared in. And when I went looking for pictures, I couldn't find it. And there's nobody else talking about it. So take that as you will for what it is. I mean, when you talk about accuracy, Viper Island has been proven as inaccurate, as accurate many times over. Outside of all the other drama that tends to surround his channel. But that was out on the rumour mill, and somebody I know tapped me up and said, "Oh, have you heard? There's been a Desert Scorpion head sculpt leak as well." But I couldn't find any pictures of it anywhere, so nobody else was talking about it on Instagram, nobody else was talking about it on Twitter. This may have just been someone I know trolling me to get me to watch a Viper Island video to piss me off. I don't know, but I put it there anyway because I noticed on the thumbnail of the Viper Island video there was a Desert Scorpion on one of the thumbnails. Oh, sorry, my hay fevery eyes are bothering me a bit. So there you go. There's the answer to that question. UB play N. Desert Scorpion would be an insta-buy for Brian. Connor, don't you enjoy your base-lipped falcon? He has a Willem Dafoe head. Fish lips. That's right. He's the he's the falcon for the Instagram and TikTok influencer generation. He looks like a Thunderbird. I thought that, Brian. He totally has a Thunderbird vibe about him. Botox gone wrong. I'm just going through all your comedy comments in the chat, folks, for anyone who watches the video on demand of this, basically. Thank you, Bobby. So it's The Greatest Evil is the name of the episode. I knew Bobby Dubs would know. Never lets me down. And UB Play N says it was one of the new Crimson Guards. Hey, Mr. B. Welcome, welcome. More new arrivals. Great to see you, my friend. Great to see you. So there you go. So we know the 2-pack, the Falcon 2-pack is a thing. We just don't know who the second character is, but it was intimated that it was going to be a villain. And then the Desert Scorpion thing, unconfirmed. The unconfirmed rumour that was DM'd to me. But I just thought it would be a nice opportunity to have a little dig at Viper Island and get myself a claim or something. So there you go. So things are warming up for Yojo Doom. Things are feeling really... I don't know, it just feels like there's some energy, some momentum around G.I. Joe, certainly from the classified side of things. As I say, I've got a video in the pipeline. I've started putting it together and recording some of the footage and getting some of my graphics sorted for it, where I'm going to do a few predictions, some speculation, and my wish list, because I've got some wants, needs, desires when it comes to classified characters that we've not had as of yet. So please do keep an eye out on that. But I'm not totally done with G.I. Joe news, because the Skybound G.I. Joe compendiums, the Real American Hero compendiums, there was a post about that 2 days ago, 1 day ago. I'm not sure. Anyway, it was, I've got the link for you. Let me check my notes, link number 3, so I'll put it there. So it's going to be May the 28th that the Kickstarter begins. Are you Cobra? Are you Joe? Is the, Are you Joe? Are you Cobra? Is the sort of tagline. So you got the blue Snake Eyes edition and the red Cobra Commander edition. But they've got a little notify me form on the webpage that I've just linked. Hang on. I've just linked over here in chat. I'll if I remember, because I'm dreadful at doing this, but I'll try and remember to swing back round to the description and add it to the description for any video on demand viewers. If you fill out the form and then subsequently go on to pledge on the Kickstarter, you get this free Storm Shadow trading card thing, which is nice. So, just really putting the word out there. I don't think... I've got a feeling, because I've seen these like massive omnibus compendiums, they're expensive. They're very expensive. And as much as I'd possibly like to own one of those, I like the look of the Cobra Commander one in the red. And I think I've got a gap right at that one at the far end there that could fit in. These two have got some space in them as well. I'm just not sure I'll have the budget this summer. I've got like family weddings and stuff coming up and pre-orders already made. But that's just a personal budget thing. I think that I suspect they'll be a good package and really well put together. The sort of rumblings around them are positive. The trading card's interesting to me as well, because I'm a trading card guy, and I thought, does this mean Skybound might be stepping into the trading card space? In fact, you can see some of my trading card binders up here from my trading card collections. So if they do a trading card collection, I'd be very excited. Although then gutted that I've not got this collector's edition promo card, if that is an indicator of future kind of stuff. So we'll see. Right, let's have a look. Everyone, hey, Connor, come it passes off. All right, okay, yeah, you're talking about. All right. Well, I'm going to stay away from that, from the potential drama that the conversation in chat might generate for me. Big fish that I am, and as bothered as people would be with regards to my opinion about Viper Island. Although, to be fair, right, the whole Viper Island thing, I'm going to go there for a minute, but it's possibly not what you think it's going to be, is that I totally get why there's people infuriated with him because of, the content stealing, the kind of attitude, the talk of being there for the community, but then that absence of kind of collegiate behavior with other content creators on YouTube, Instagram, website owners and such like. I totally understand the frustration and the infuriation with him. And that is completely justified, but it's not my drama to get involved in. It's not my game. Maybe one day he'll steal some of my content and perhaps I'll have a firmer opinion on that. What bothers me is just like, his videos are just so kind of negative. All the time, constantly negative in a kind of, like in a Murdoch Fox News kind of way. And I just can't, or over here, the Sky News kind of way. Ticker tape going on the bottom, negative voiceover, always airs on the neggy side of things, critical all the time, throwing shade. And I'm just like, oh. And I haven't got no patience for that. I just, I want warmth. I want personality. And there's certainly no personality there that I can see. And I just don't want that constant negativity. It's the same reason why some of the other sort of toy tubers I don't really bother with, because it's just so neg. And I know I make my fair share of critical comments. I've got some McFarlane stuff coming up in a minute. Where I'm going to talk about my salty feelings towards McFarlane again. But you have to start on a platform of stating the facts and then commentating and make it very clear. And what I've noticed is like, and I hope you guys notice, because I make an effort to, so if someone says something in chat and I think, I hadn't thought of that, but that's actually a good point, I'll say, do you know what? That's a good point. You kind of changed my mind a bit there. But it strikes me that Viper Island's just always doubling down and just going stronger and harder in that sort of Fox News style of way. So the drama's one thing, and that that he's creating drama and getting into beefs with other people. And that's just not my game to play. That's I've got no involvement. I'm not even on the reserve bench on anybody's team with regards to that. I just don't think the videos are that good. It's as simple as that. I just find them just noisy and in my face and negative, and I can't roll with that. The passion for collecting something needs to inform the critique, and I just don't feel that in there. You know what I mean? So I don't know, maybe that's not what you were expecting on Viper Island commentary, but I took us there by bringing him up, I suppose. And Connor agrees with me. You're right, dude. Stay well clear of it. Yeah, it's not. I totally agree. That's why I stay clear of that dude. Just not good for the community. Yeah, but he's got whatever it is. What's he bang on about? Being played in 3 million homes or whatever. Fine. I'll just plow on in my little corner of the internet quite happily with you guys, who are lovely, by the way. All right, so there you go. Don't forget about the compendium if anyone's interested in that. May the 28th. But go fill out the form if you want to get notified by email and get a chance to go in on the limited edition special trading card as well. All right, there you go. There's the G.I. Joe stuff, folks. I'm going to take us into that. Let's talk McFarlane stuff now. Here we go, McFarlane toys. So, Music Maniacs. You guys know that I absolutely love it when my two biggest loves in this world, adult collecting and tunes, my rock music, get mashed together. And Toddy has shown off the next two figures. These had been mentioned. I think they've been name only revealed, but now we've got the pickies and they're available for pre-order and stuff. It's Rob Zombie and it's Eddie, Trooper Eddie there. 6-inch with some limited articulation in the McFarlane way. But with Music Maniacs, I think you are sort of looking for, it's more like an slightly articulated statue, isn't it? In the typical McFarlane kind of way. But it's a line I'm watching with interest. I'm still in two minds about whether I go in on Alice Cooper But Eddie's definitely caught my eye. Eddie's definitely caught my eye there. I feel like it might be one of those that I just sort of see if it gets clear, if I see it in a clearance sale or something, you know, or it's on shelf one day in Forbidden Planet when I'm feeling a little bit more flush. It might be the sort of thing I pick up to go in my little kind of band in plastic, I call it. I've got a little gathering of characters with guitars and things. So just putting that out there, just revisiting it, I suppose, because I talked about the first two Music Maniacs a little while ago. The sculpt on those, I know my little breakout news window here is not the best, but if you go and take a look, I will provide a link. A strategic link, might I add, because it's also the MoDXtra Amazon affiliate link, wink, wink. But I'll pop that in the chat there. And that is... oh, my thing's set to top chat rather than all chat. Hang on, let me change that so I can see what everyone's saying. Right. Sorry, folks. I think I've missed some of your chat comments because I've had my chat thingy over here in set to top chat rather than all chat. So apologies to anyone if you've said anything that I then just skimmed right over. That was not my intention. But yeah, I just love it when my two great loves get mashed together like this. And I'll be watching with interest. I'll just to reiterate for anyone who missed the first time I talked about this, what I'm particularly keen on is to sort of see the borders expand outside of this sort of heavy metal space. I'd love to see some things. There was there's been in the past great Jimi Hendrixes, John Lennon's, stuff like that. I'd love to see imagine a really cool Keith Richards with a guitar. Yeah, I'd be on board for that. And these types of things. So, not much more to say really there. I don't know how you guys feel about these, but it's just a line I keep an eye on and a partial interest in because I love music, I love action figures. Mash the two together. Yeah, perfect for me. However, that's not all I've got to say about McFarlane because there's been some events over here in the UK. This is what I will now forever keep calling my salty about Toddy section because I do have a little moment to get all salty about Todd McFarlane. Now, DC Multiverse was the line I was kind of dipping in and out of. I would actually argue I'm more of a DC fan than I am a Marvel fan. DC Comics. I would say I read DC Comics a lot more heavily during the 90s when I was sort of a week in, week out down to my local comic store, kind of off-the-shelf collector. Well, not even a collector, a reader. My comics are battered. But I was probably reading more Batman and Justice League and stuff and Superman at the time, although I did dabble quite significantly in the X-Men. But the McFarlane line's been all right. It's been sort of scratching an itch. But I've been saying for a long time I'm probably going to tap out of the line. Now, this week, one of the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse kind of UK community groups on Facebook, one of the retailers, Figures Display, posted saying they've had the confirmation email finally from McFarlane to say they're scaling back their distribution in the UK. And then somebody followed up with Forbidden Planet, and the Forbidden Planet said, yeah, we're going to get mainline releases. And it was implied that this meant, movie tie-ins, cartoon tie-ins, those type of things, but anything beyond that, we're not going to be getting in the UK. So it's what we suspected and what I've been speculating about for a number of weeks now, you guys, has proven true. But then, as if to get that salt and go, get that in the wound, an email went round from McFarlane Toys offering 50% discount for customers in the UK for a limited time using the code UK50. So they're like, yeah, we're not going to send you any stuff, but if you want to buy them from us direct, and I was like, come on. I think someone somewhere in their marketing department thought that would be a way to mitigate negative press from UK customers about this stuff. But it just felt to me like a little tone deaf. You know what I mean? I'm a supporter of buying my figures from the likes of Figures Displays and in-demand toys and comics and cocktails and stuff. In fact, I noticed the Batman 66 line, Star Action Figures? Somebody was just earlier today advertising it, saying exclusive, the only place in the UK you could get them from. And my tweet about the rarity of Wonder Woman and how she only appeared to be on Amazon for UK customers, there was a retailer who cropped up and said, we have stock, and then I went to the website and it wasn't even there on the website, so I don't know what that was all about. But I'm a big supporter of buying from your brick and mortar, your local stores, or your independent online retailers, and that seems to be definitely McFarlane turning the back there. Let's see if anyone in chat's got anything to say about that. Oh, well, Flaffle's taking us on a tangent. Random memory. Anyone remember the old cartoon Jason the Wheel Warriors? You bet I do. Absolutely. With those like weird, plant things. I remember them very vividly. Yeah, that was an awesome cartoon. Yeah. I suppose the next natural question would be, why are you asking? Where's the random thought come from? What's triggered that little nostalgic note of reflection from you there, Flaffle? Please do elaborate. Let's get into it. And then let's see what Will's got to say. Wilfredo, I was a huge McFarlane toy fan, but lately his figures are just not given the attention to detail we used to get. The old school figures used to look so great and had amazing paint outs and washes. Yeah, I would agree with that also. I mean, my drive to... So I've got my pre-orders, and I've left a number of pre-orders in. I did cancel a small handful and said, are these really characters that I care enough about that that I really want to, keep the pre-orders in. And I cancelled a few pre-orders, but like mainline Justice League, in fact, my Superman, my new classic look Superman, came in this big raft of pre-orders that arrived over April, and I will be reviewing that one soon with his goofy. Goofy. But you're right, because when I think about like the Lobo that I bought a couple of years back, and there was one figure, I didn't buy it, but it was absolutely amazing in the detail. Oh, Clayface, the Clayface Mega Fig, I thought that was amazing. And you just don't see that with them now. You don't see that with them now. And this Superman, for example, one of my criticisms that's on my bullet point list for the review is that like there's an S on the belt that's not been painted, but then also because it's a reused book, it's kind of the wrong belt for the character that they're doing. It just feels really lazy and cash grabby, and that of course has been my problem with McFarlane. Now that's not to say other toy manufacturers could not be, the same criticism could not be leveled at them. We can certainly say, for example, that Hasbro, they're all about cash grab behavior, aren't they? But there's just something about the nature of it. I can't really articulate why it bothers me more about McFarlane than it does about, say, Hasbro stuff. If anyone has got any idea as to what might be causing that. But yeah, I entirely agree, Wilfredo. I think that's a great point. That some part of the disaffection is driven by the quality of the figures. But of course, here in the UK, we've had distribution problems, figure scarcity, then the scalper behaviour around McFarlane, DC Multiverse stuff really left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And so it's become problematic. And then, I think also, along with your comment where that observed sort of attention to detail and quality is dropping, the price is increasing. So there's a disproportionate change in the way that things are in the trajectory. So like G.I. Joe Classified, prices have gone up, but they've gone up marginally. So here in the UK, I tend to buy them for about 25 quid, and I was used to buying them for about 23 quid. So sort of like a £2 increase on the average figure, maybe £3. Some of them are £25.99, or there or thereabouts. And so the price increase has been about 2 or 3 quid, but at least there's been a maintenance of quality, and you were getting really good quality in the first place, so it feels justified. You could argue maybe different about Black Series and Power. Well, I don't know. I don't know a lot about Power Rangers. Someone would have to tell me what the quality and standard of Power Rangers is. But Marvel Legends and Black Series, you could argue maybe price increases are not commensurate with quality improvement. So yeah, I've just got like could be argued an unreasonable salty bugbear towards Toddy and his stuff, but there's just something about it that leaves much worse of a taste in my mouth. That kind of cheap, cash grabby tone of it all that's just just not working for me at all. I can't explain it. Fluffles swung back round. I play Rocket League, thinking of these would be sweet cards of it. Oh, I see. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. Yeah, I can see that. Get your Jason and Will Warriors cars. Get your mask vehicles and stuff. That'll be another great one. What else was cars? Cadillacs. Get some Cadillacs from Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Yeah, so yeah, McFarlane prices seems to have really jumped up in the last few months. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, there was that Crisis on Infinite Earths wave scandal about them being on McFarlane's own website only. That was the only distribution point you can get them from. And the price hike was just like silly money. Mr. B bought the Lobo figure for his brother because he's a Lobo fan. I used to be a fan of Lobo. I must admit, I've not read any Lobo for a long time. And then a few folks saying hello. Okay, brilliant. So there you go. I'm going to move on from the saltiness. That's my salty Todd McFarlane stuff done. But Music Maniacs, a line that I'm definitely watching with interest. Right, what's next on my list? A bit of Valaverse, folks. Would you have ever believed that you'd come to a MoDXtra stream, listen to your friend Chris talk about Valaverse? But yes, I am, because this bone collector, this 100th figure bone collector, has turned my head a little bit, ladies and gents. That big, like, horned skull helmet thing, I like that. I like that a lot. That's really turned my head. Just on the grounds of that massive helmet. I just think he would look like really great next to Shadow Tracker from G.I. Joe, you know. So that's caught my attention. This Wave 5 release hasn't really lifted my skirt up all that much. And in fact, Action Force, to be frank, rarely lifts my skirt up, especially when you factor in the scarcity here in the UK and the import costs of getting it over and all that kind of stuff. But this one has caught my eye. And I know a few of you folks are kind of Action Forcey fans, and I wonder if it might have caught your eye too. I mean, the head leaves a little bit to be desired, but who cares? Because you're going to be putting that big old horned helmet on him, which I think looks really awesome. And he's got that massive, like, Schwarzenegger Predator style minigun. Brilliant. Yeah, it really turned my head, caught my eye. So I swear, my question would be a couple of questions, because I know some of you guys are Action Force folks. Has the articulation and rigidness improved? Because I had a lot of trouble with my early Action Force figures when I did buy a few, and they were easier to get over here with articulation. And it didn't matter how many hairdryer blasts or hot water baths I gave them. Like my Sergeant Slaughter is just ridiculous. I can't even get one of the hands out to do the hand swaps with. It's just outrageous. So has that improved? And do they still look? I've always felt they looked a bit too plasticky, a little bit too toyish, and I wondered whether there'd been any change or improvement from in that space from the folks who've had them in hand. Rest assured, Connor, what I'll do is I'll go back and revisit your Action Force reviews now that they've turned my head once again. Although they really need a European, an easier way to get them over here. We need a European stroke UK distributor, because it's a real pain in the arse getting your hands on them. But yeah, this guy turned my head, because I just get really excited about weird, idiosyncratic, wacky stuff. And a massive horn skull helmet is the kind of thing that makes you go, I need that on my shelf. I need that weirdo on my shelf. Look how weird he is. I need him. Because I'm obviously just not right in the head, you know what I mean? I'm just not right. I feel like my microphone's really in my face today. Let's put that down there. Right, let's have a look. Quick loop through the chat then. Bobby's asking, isn't Jason Momoa going to be Lobo? There was some news about that. I don't know. Well, that'd be a bit weird, though, because he was... He's Aquaman. Although is Aquaman not carrying over in the new James Gunn? Yeah, I don't know, Bobby. I was just saying words there, really, about things I sort of half know about the situation, but I've not heard anything on that front, mate. I'm taking the news from you on that one. Flaffle says, I think he wanted to be Lobo, but they made him Aquaman. I may be wrong, though. Yeah, don't know. Sounds accurate. I mean, that's good casting for a Lobo, though. That is good casting for a Lobo. Okay, the Action Force figures are cool articulation-wise, but their colours are very muted, and the face sculpts and face paint tech is miles behind Hasbro's. Yeah, okay, so that's and the skin tones look really plasticky to me, like very plasticky. When you compare it to, you know, Classified, for example, or even Marvel Legends, the skin tones are better. Although actually, I've just glanced at my big boa right at the bottom here. And he's got a bit of a plasticky skin tone vibe, hasn't he? So maybe I'm being a little too harsh. Maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh. But yeah, the skin tones always seem a bit shiny and plasticky. So colours are muted, the face sculpt. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Thanks for the notes there, Mr. Redmond. Connor says I'm probably all in on Wave 4, but happy with the original Bone Collector. All right, fair enough. This is Wave 5 as well, with like the there's an older general dude with a cigar and stuff, isn't there? I went to Valaverse's own website actually yesterday when I was sort of getting on with my notes and my pictures together and stuff for tonight's stream, and I thought, oh, I'll go and see if he's got some pictures on there, because this one's just off Valaverse's Instagram, and it's not a great shot of the figure really, and. Their Wave 5, there's no information about the Wave 5. And the website was doing weird things. I couldn't choose any links, and there was like these odd boxes that kept turning up and disappearing. And it wouldn't let me do anything on the website. And then when it finally did let me do something on the website, and I went to products and went to have a look at to see if there was like a coming soon section or something, there wasn't nothing there about this new Wave 5. So the only place to get the information is on Valaverse's Facebook page or Instagram page, which struck me as odd. You'd want a coming soon or a news section, wouldn't you? Surely. And you'd want your website to be working. In fact, wasn't Vern going on about something with their website ages ago? When he was trying to buy the exclusive token claim Condor? Was that? Am I remembering that right? I can't. You know what I'm like this time of night. I'm 100% in on that Cyborg dude, though. Cyborg dude? See this? What Cyborg dude? Action Force is this? Right. I'm live on stream. Right. Action Force. Wave 5. Yeah, see, it's like nothing. It doesn't come up. Like, I just want a Valaverse page that says coming soon, Wave 5, with all the stuff on it. Because now I've got to troll through all the people who've made YouTube videos about things and grainy shots of unpainted figures at toy fairs. It can get a bit much, you know, folks. Sometimes. Right, I'll have a look at that. I'll go check out that Cyborg dude then, because that's obviously one that I've missed and may also be interested in. But, you know, I've said in the past, like, oh, Valaverse, it's a pain in the backside. But I am coming round more and more to just sort of accepting the fact that I'm going to have to pay over odds and do a bit of importing, like my man Connor in chat does as well. Because I'm thinking about Monster Force and some other bits. So that may become a reality for me in that space there. And so this caught my eye. It kind of came up just at a time where I was going, yeah, maybe I could swallow it, you know. Fluffle. Big Bo is such a badass figure. He's so random, but I dig him. Yeah, and that's what, like I was saying earlier, I just love it. When I was a kid, I wanted them all to look like soldiers. You know, I wanted all my Cobras to look like Vipers, you know, blue, red, and black. And then I wanted all my Joes to be in the camouflage, and I wanted to bury them under the grass in the garden and all that. But now in my older age, I'm more into the balmier stuff. I'm more into the wild and wacky. But I think that was because when I was a kid, I was reading Action Force comics, and it was, you know, the stories, to my recollection anyway, in Action Force were sort of less sci-fi or less mystical, like they were in the G.I. Joe cartoons. I mean, I know Real American Hero, there was always a kind of sci-fi-ish element to it, but it was all sort of military-style stories at its heart. You know, fighting pirates, you know, Shipwreck and Deep Six fighting pirates, and you know, the famous the fighter pilot story with Wild Weasel and oh God, this happens to me every stream. You know, pilot dude. And he had Lady J in the back going, why aren't you getting into it? Lady J and Baroness. You know, so it was all military style stories, whereas now in my older age and I've engaged with more of the wider IP and more of the weirdness, and I'm getting older, so I want more like wacky fun because it's part of the, you've got the nostalgic experience, but I also want to feel like a child, so I like it when it's balmy. So I don't know. Anyway, again, I'm just saying words, but I think you're getting what I'm saying there, Flaffle. Jonathan Redmond, right, just carry on through chat for a moment for the benefit of the video on demand's viewers who can't see it right now. The old Valaverse website crapped itself due to insane demand for that exclusive figure. Right, that's what I heard about then. That's what I've heard Vern ranting about on his tweets or whatever. No, only digital pics so far for the new wave. Okay, that's fine then. I will still investigate that cyborg figure though. Bobby says he's really interested in the general from Monster Force. Yes, so me too, dude. I'm with you on that. So when it comes to Monster Force, I have generally made pre-orders of stuff that I feel would just be kind of useful and cross-referential in the broad scheme of my collection. So the generals one with all the different head swaps. And then I have, well, I say that, I must admit, I've bought the two Evil Trooper dudes that kind of look a bit red shadowsy. You know, in tone. And then there's another one I pre-ordered. What was the other one I pre-ordered? Not the... Well, I was 50-50 about the Spy. But there's another one I pre-ordered that I like the look of. But again, it was one that, you know, wasn't all the way out there like Egyptian, you know, white-suited god dude or whatever. Or the Van Helsing kind of dude looks nice, but I've not bothered going in on him. But the general, yeah, because he could just sort of fit in, can't he? Into, so if you do Action Force, if you do G.I. Joe, if you do both, the general's kind of a nice broad fit, and the more kind of supernatural, mystical elements of the Monster Force isn't coming through quite as strong in that character, and therefore can be used across all your military figure lines. And Connor agrees, he looks cool. Kind of weird how Toy Art never covers Action Force stuff. Yeah, so I don't use Toy Art very often because they generally don't talk about things that I collect. I do use it for staying on top of some of my statue stuff, like the Diamond Select and Gentle Giant. Although I haven't bought anything new for ages in that space because it's getting so expensive. And the playability factor, to use Connor's language, isn't very high with them sometimes. I still get my little Scotty Young animated ones though. I love those. So I drop in and out now and again because they've got news articles on those. But the action figure stuff I don't find. There tends to be a lot of Turtles and Motu. I I have a sense of. Yeah, we need a good. Oh God, I'm possibly talking myself into something. But we need a good website that sort of brings all this stuff together nicely, don't we? But that'd be such a massive job. Can you imagine that, staying on top of something like that? And then Bobby, there's another group, Naughty and Nice, that do a lot of Santa action figures. I want to get the G.I. Joe Santa. And again, Bobby, you and me, mate. You and me, like this. So I've got the Santa. I've got a Santa. But I don't know where he is. Hang on. The box might be nearby. Hold the line. Is this the Christmas box? Hang on. I'm going back. Although, I don't know if this is Christmas or Halloween. This is Christmas, yeah. So there you go. Picked him up. He arrived just after Christmas, actually. Just before Christmas, sorry. Just gone. But I ran out of time because of, festive family commitments to actually make a review. But he's fun. He's good. The articulation's a bit limited, so it's all double jointed and stuff. But the accessory selection's nice. It's a good looking figure. The colours are, interesting. And I picked up the, and I put a pre-order in for the Combat Santa as well. That's the only one I've got. The only other one I've gone in on. So, of like minds, Bobby, you and I, on the same page around that, for sure. On the same page. Flaffle, the search begins. Yeah. And that's it, I believe. Click next button. Click next button. And no, yeah, that's it. That was the last of my prepared material, ladies and gents, boys and girls. So those are the things that caught my eye over this sort of last week, since I last streamed last Tuesday. As you well know, this isn't really a news report as much as it is just me picking the stuff that that I like the look of and talking about it for an hour or so. Connor's he's cool. You're talking about the Father Christmas. How does he scale next to the classified figures? All right, hang on a minute. Right. Hold on. Let me see if I could do something. This is possibly not the sort of thing I should try and do live on the hoof. But for you guys, I'll give it a go. I'll just grab the 60th anniversary figure here. And then let me just go into studio mode. And if I can go down a bit, down a bit, down a bit, down a bit, down a bit. Where's my Amazon review? There it is. Okay. Here we go. Right, I'm going to switch screens now. Let me find the right button on my switchy doodad. Okay, there you go. So I've just hooked up. There you go. My phone hookup's not great colour wise. Is that a bit better? If I bring that, no, that's too dark, isn't it? But yeah, there you go. So there's the Father Christmas next to the 60th anniversary. There's the live stream studio there. Yeah, next to the 60th anniversary. But then, of course, you've got the accessory selection because he's got his hat and his cookies and stuff. Let me see if they're nearby. Do you want me to put his hat on him? Hold on. Let me try it. Oh, man, what am I doing? Oh, yeah, they are. Right there on the top, actually. Perfect. Let me just move that to my right hand. Sorry, I've got... you're seeing my tremors affecting the thing. So, yeah, he's got his little Santa hat. Is it that way around? Yeah, there you go. His little Santa hat. And then his little gift there. Somebody's going to randomly tune in right now and be like, where's the rest of my year gone? What's happening here? And then there's the head swap with the wink. Little winky head swap. Foot stand. Here you go. You're kind of getting the review in perpetuity. Not in perpetuity, in I don't know, whatever the word is. Then you got your plate for your cookies. There's the naughty and nice list. Little glass here with a like a milk fill. So you can put your little cup of milk in there like that. And there's the hand swaps and the cookies in there. So yeah, really fun, really good figure. Like I say, the articulation is comparably limited to putting him next to the 60th anniversary there, because it's just you can see it's just double joints on the knees and legs, kind of neckerish actually. For those of you who've had Necker figures in hand with the double joints, I think I might have his hat on back to front. Yeah, I do. It's the wrong way around. There's the front of that. But it's well sculpted, good colours, got a lot of character, a lot of personality. It's quite steep, but I just couldn't resist. And he goes well with my with my other little collection of Christmas figures. I got a little Halloween selection as well. Maybe we'll do that next week. We'll go to Halloween next week, shall we? Right, let me turn this off and stop making you all feel really car sick. There you go. But I tell you what, folks. How many live streams have you tuned into where they've just been able to do a live footage, boom, on the fly like that? That's the kind of insane, in the moment production values you get from MoDXtra games and collectibles. So let's have a quick run through chat. Where was I up to? I was up to Fuller here. So how does he scale? There you go. So you've had a look at the kind of the scaling there, Bobby. Jono likes that Santa figure. Flaffle likes the figure. Cool figure. Cool. Ice cool. Snowy cool, my friend. That looks like a scene from that David Harbour Violent Christmas Night. Yeah. I've not seen that yet, but I saw the trailer. Then Carter says, G.I. Joe had to rescue Santa as he was kidnapped by Cobra when Destro learnt he was on the naughty list. I don't remember that. Is that animated? Is it? DIC, probably. Oh, guys, you have to give me a minute. I need to get some nicotine in me. There we are. And Mr. B asked, what kind of cookies did Destro give Santa? Lol. So these ones have definitely got a chocolate chip vibe about them. Hang on. Let's let the autofocus. Yeah, there you go. Definitely got a chocolate chip vibe about them. Mars cookie. Hey. Woo. Containing TNT. Yeah, so was that in the cartoon? I don't remember that. I've got no recollection of that ever happening. So there you go, the Santa figure, but I never got around to reviewing it. It arrived so close to Christmas. I had it out on display, so some of you might have noticed it. He was on my little, on this little, my little dressed scene for on camera a few times. I had him on display. That's not what I meant. I'm sure it isn't. Oh dear. All right, well, on that innuendo note, I will as always ask if there's anything else anyone in chat would like me to discuss, share thoughts on, any more just saying of words that you would require from Chris this evening before I close it up. Well, I just put my Santa tray back in my bits box thing. And just while I'm waiting for chat to catch up with that, if there is any other final chats, I'll just do my usual stuff. Of course, always interested to know if there's anything I can do to make this a more interesting, more engaging viewing experience, doing the live stuff, then please do drop me a note. No, that was my story tour desk display. Oh, I see. Oh, well, that's brilliant. Yeah, so you make it up a little bit of man-child playtime. And of course, I love it. Any thoughts on the new Droideka? No. It's time. I don't know. So I'm not, when it comes to Black Series, I only pay attention. I am a confessed, out there, Star Wars OG trilogy elitist. No two ways about it. As far as extended universe goes, I'm almost hate watching at this point. I'm almost hate watching. Droidekas are fine, they're cool, but it's just of very little interest to me. Despite the fact that I'd argue now in hindsight, here's a controversial hot take for you, that Phantom Menace was possibly I think is the best of the prequel trilogy in hindsight. Although I did watch with my son the other day, we watched Tales of the Empire, the Tales of the Empire cartoons, little sort of 10-minute things. And even though I wasn't kind of really fully like clued into the full wider lore piece that surrounded the characters they focused on, I know the focus of the first half of the season was that lady from Ahsoka. I didn't really know who those two ex-Jedis who went evil and became Inquisitors were properly. I feel like they were in the Clone Wars, and I watched the Clone Wars, but it's not in there. But I will say that they were well animated and the action was good, and I was into the story despite not having that kind of deeper lore understanding as to who they are, because the stories that were being told over those couple of episodes, kind of making up a full 30-minute episode, stood on their own two legs, which I feel like is what Disney really needs to start doing with stuff like their MCU and the Disney Plus. They need to stop putting content out that's just basically a really super extended advert for the next piece of content. But circling back around to the Black Series, so I'm pleased that there's figures out there for Star Wars Black Series fans. I know Droid Decker was a very popular one, particularly because the 2-pack with the totally random C-3PO in it and stuff had bent a few noses out of shape. So that's cool. But I don't, my head, Black Series very rarely turns my head at all anymore. If tomorrow they kind of rocked up with like a super duper like re-release of a classic Luke, a classic Han, a classic Leia with further improved face sculpting, and bulked them out a bit to be a bit more kind of like classified or Marvel Legends size and scale, with some improvements in articulation, then you'd have me interested. But otherwise, I'm sorry, Mr. B. Well, I just said I've got no thoughts on Droid Decker and then rambled on for 4 or 5 minutes, but I don't think I actually said all that much about the Droid Decker. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. I do enjoy the Phantom Menace, but I feel like the original trilogy more because of the nostalgia of it, and it changed movie making forever. Yeah, I mean that's a big contributing factor to my OG trilogy elitism, is that I recognise and understand that a kid watching Phantom Menace, who, if I think about, I would have watched the first Star Wars, it would have been a VHS copy, my dad and my uncle, I kind of sort of remember it, and it was somewhere around, I remember waiting for Return of the Jedi to come out. So when was Jedi? 87, 88? So I'd have been 5, 6, 7, 8-ish, somewhere in that ballpark. And the impact and the ignition of imagination that created in me, I just don't think can be replicated. But I also recognise and acknowledge that there will have been an 8-year-old seeing Phantom Menace who will have had that introduction to this deep world and this ignition of imagination themselves, and then I was going to say equally with the sequels, but I don't think anybody's imagination could be ignited by those. So I fully acknowledge that my elitism is wildly unreasonable, and based on a firm connection that 7-year-old Chris has to the intellectual property there. It was so cool to get to hear the pod race in the movies again last week. The surround sound brought me right back to seeing it 25 years ago. Yeah, so the pod race gets some shit, but I think you got lightsaber fight with Darth Maul on Tatooine. You've got the pod race, which I think is a rollicking good time. You've got obviously that big, long, extended piece. The Battle of Naboo with the space stuff's all right with Annie. But you've got all the stuff going on the ground. Obviously, the lightsaber battle that's a part of that larger Battle of Naboo piece with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and Darth Maul, just amazing. And I think I remember the pod race getting a lot of shit from fans, but I thought it was quite driven and exciting. And like I say, the cinema experience of the pod race was really good. So I agree, Connor. Don't forget to ask folks here to click the like button. Oh yeah, don't forget to click the like button, folks. And if you're not already subscribed, which I think most of you are anyway, but if you're not, click the subscribe button as well. Best line of all times came from that movie. I'll try spinning. That's a good trick. Yeah, I mean, it was all that whole Anakin flying the N1 fighter into the droid control ship and stuff was all very contrived. I'll give you that. There's a new Farm Boy Luke and Leia announced. Oh, okay. I'm yet to be disappointed. Yeah, but you possibly are going to be. Yeah, so it's all about... So Black Series for me, I mean, I was never really... Again, it's kind of like the DC Multiverse. Never really fully on board with it. It was just scratching a bit of an itch for me. Most of my stuff that's actually out, which is up the top there, I've got some of my Star Wars Lego. I like a bit of Star Wars Lego because I like some of the OG... I've got the helmets and some vehicles. But the action figures that I've got out are all Empire Strikes Back, funnily enough. I've got the Empire... Oh, no, that's not the Empire Darth Vader. I've swapped it out for the newer one with the cloth cape. But I've got Empire Han, Pilot Luke, in the jumpsuit and stuff. So, but it's always been the articulation frustrates me. Like that Boba Fett just really aggs me out that I can't get his gun, and like there's limits to what I can do with him in terms of that man-child player wanting to replicate my favourite sort of poses and scenes. Although they've just done some figures with double elbows, haven't they? Did I hear that right? Was that something that's happened recently? You guys sort of follow Black Series closer than me. Phantom Menace is an awesome movie. Really holds up. Yeah, it does. And I think it holds up stronger than Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. I know a lot of people gravitate towards Revenge of the Sith, but I think it holds up way better than Revenge of the Sith. I'm just so unconvinced by the journey into darkness that Anakin has, Saw the first one when I was 11, 12 years old. Totally blew me away from the beginning. Yeah. Star Wars are just great stories, just like the Harry Potter saga. Well, that's where we have to... We sort of part on that one, Flaffle, because I find the Harry Potter stuff very difficult to engage with. The rest of my family are big Harry Potter fans. My wife and my two kids, that's a space that they nerd out on and they play around in. And so I've read the books to the kids, and obviously I've seen the movies several times and things, but I find it very hard to engage with. Very hard to engage with. And I can't fully articulate why. What I will say is I don't feel like the books are particularly well written. I don't know if any of you guys have ever read them out aloud in like story time with your kids, but it's very like, I can't believe you just did that, Ron, said Harry, surprised. Oh, but I had to do that, Harry, said Ron, sheepishly. There's like a structure to it that's very unsophisticated that I struggle with, which I suppose is also the reason why it's great to read out aloud to my kids. So maybe I'm criticising. Anyway, so yeah, I struggle with Harry Potter, but I don't begrudge anyone for liking it. I struggle with it, and also what I find is, and this is what they're doing with Star Wars right now, which I find frustrating. What I don't like is this idea of sometimes, like there'll be a little nugget of a thing, like a thread of a thing. There'll be a piece of line. There'll be a world building line that's thrown in to give it flavour and give it character and to demonstrate that there's a different language and a different world that this stuff exists on. But then what J.K. Rowling does, and also what Disney Dave Filoni does with the Star Wars stuff, is they sort of grab onto that thread and then start to unravel it. So my childlike imagination is being increasingly removed from that wider narrative, the place where I put myself in the story, where I've made up the death of the Bothans story with my own action figures on the living room carpet is being taken away from me. And I don't like that sometimes. I'm like, I was happy that for Obi-Wan Kenobi to say there was a war called the Clone Wars and Luke's father was a pilot in it, and that's okay. My imagination was able to kind of jigsaw together the rest or create a thing for me. But as time goes on, they go, right, well, let's now do a prequel series that's going to tell that bit. And now let's do a series that's going to tell this bit. And they start to take that imagination ignition out of it for me, because they're saying, well, it's not for you to have your little imaginary runs with. It's for us to make money out of you for. And I can't, it's a struggle. It becomes more an increasing struggle for me then. And what I also don't like is, this is MCU, I suppose I'd level this criticism at, but it's true also. Like, if you watch Fantastic Beasts, I watched Fantastic Beasts, and all the way through I was thinking, I have no idea what's going on. I've absolutely no idea what's going on. And I've read the stories, both out aloud to each of my kids, and I've watched the first set of movies several times. And these are just obscure, like, little lore references that are now threads that are being pulled on. And there must be people out there watching these without a Scooby-Doo what the fuck is going on. Like, no idea. Hate that. Really hate that. Things need to be able to stand by their own merit. That's why the early Mandalorian stuff was so good, because it existed in the wider context, and it didn't turn its back on, the Skywalker saga context, or post-Skywalker saga context that it existed in. But it didn't need it to exist. It was just someone saying, oh, well, I want to explore and engage with a flavour within the universe, an aspect, and just explore it for myself and create a new character. And of course, then they couldn't help themselves. They had to, like, bring Luke back and Ahsoka in, and because they can't not do that, they need to backdoor pilot their way into the Ahsoka series and stuff. But there was in that very early Mandalorian was like, yeah, you can. There is a whole element of the Star Wars universe that they've settled for us, which is the wretched hive of scum and villainy, the underbelly of the universe, the Jabba the Hutt criminal underworld, and you can just play in that. You don't need to, you can just play in it. You don't need to do stuff. That's why I think I watched the Bad Batch, and I thought that was all right. It was half decent. Because, although again they couldn't help themselves, like rolling it into the bigger thing, but it was just like, so what about these clones? What if this little unit of clones, let's just, early Bad Batch was about them just sort of having their own adventure and bringing Omega into the fold. And anyway, I'm going to stop rambling on, but I think you're getting what I'm saying. Well, I don't know. Let me see what's in the chat. CGI in Attack of the Clones did not hold up. I thought CGI Yoda was dreadful. Getting back to action figures, though, Jono says Black Series varies on the figure on how good the articulation is. Yeah, it's just I've only ever had double elbow stuff, and that's okay if you just want to stand your Vader with his lightsaber out and stuff. But the shooty guys, they need more. And I'm sure I noticed one the other day and thought, oh, is that double elbow and a thigh cut on that? CGI never holds up. It's rendered in 2K and when upscaled to 4K, it looks shite. Yeah, I watched Back to the Future the other day, and the flames after the DeLorean looked awful. I was like, God, I don't remember them looking that dreadful. I don't particularly care for how people are surviving lightsaber stabbings. Yeah, I heard a lot of talk about that with that was Ahsoka that happened in, wasn't it? The current Star Wars and Marvel shows and movies feel like just a lead into the next movie or TV show rather than a story in their own right. Yeah, it's just this kind of this perpetual motion. And what happens then? So the point I didn't make before, which is where I started, and the point I actually meant to make was sometimes I sit down with my son and he doesn't watch everything. He has characters he likes, characters he doesn't like. So sometimes he takes an interest, sometimes he doesn't. I'll say to him, oh, there's a new thing on Disney Plus, do you want to watch it with me? And if it's characters that he engages with, he's like, yeah, I'll check that out. And if it's characters that he doesn't engage with, he'll be like, nah, no thanks. And that is what it is. Same with my daughter. So she'll, like the Spider-Man stuff, she'll watch anything. So all the Spider-Man stuff, she loves it, but she's got no interest in Captain America at all, or Thor. Like Thor's like, what to her, But because of the way they've constructed it now, my son is forever all the way through going, well, why is he doing that? And why is he saying that? And why is he going here? And what is this place? And I have to, yeah, and this isn't like, annoying movie partner type stuff that, we joke about when the wife won't shut up through your movie. This is legitimate because he didn't give a shit about WandaVision. Did not want to watch WandaVision. The pace, the tone, the whole oeuvre of the piece was not for him. I think he watched the first episode and was like, nah, I'm out and bored with this. Doesn't work for me. Not interested. Completely disengaged with the Vision character and the Scarlet Witch character. No interest in what's going on. But then he really likes Doctor Strange. He likes all the ring sling stuff. So when it came to watching Doctor Strange, when the new one came out, he really wanted to see it. But of course, that it's so internally meta-referential around the Scarlet Witch stuff and what's going on with her. And he's like, why is she a bad guy now? Because he didn't watch WandaVision. And I was having to sort of... And it was okay, because I got into some really nice conversation with him about, well, you see, the grief has sort of driven her to this space and blah, 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 blah. He's like, yeah, but I don't get it. And then the Mr. Fantastic turning up was kind of washed over him in a weird way, because he's not, because... he's not the nerd that they're catering to, and that whole scene with the things, he was like, I don't get this. What's going on? It's not. It's weird. It's random. It's not, and because he hasn't got all that plug-in stuff. And in order to appreciate Doctor Strange, he really felt like he needed to have seen WandaVision then. So he went back and watched WandaVision and said, I really didn't like it. It was shit. Well, he didn't say shit. He's 10, but you get what I mean. And they're doing that with everything. It's the same with Star Wars now. It's the Harry Potter stuff, like with Fantastic Beasts and that. You have to, the idea that they're positioning us so we must consume it all in order to enjoy it. So when early Mandalorian came along, it had stuff in there that Star Wars fans could appreciate and love and engage with and enjoy. But if you didn't have that deep appreciation of the overall Star Wars lore, it didn't matter, because you could still get your head around this sort of space western bounty hunter, the lone wolf and pup sort of thing. Those kind of tropes still worked in the setting. So you were getting the setting and you were getting more Star Wars stories, but it wasn't invading where my imagination had filled in the gaps previously. It was just saying someone else is sharing what their imagination did with it, until they started bringing in CGI Lukes and stuff. So you're right, and it just then starts to feel like each show is just an extended trailer for the next show. And all the coverage and what people get excited about is like, is Daredevil going to be in this? You know what I mean? Like, well... Bobby Wald, seems like Tech is the only one who has ever died in Star Wars. Everyone else somehow comes back or is a Force ghost. Han Solo's dead as a doornail. Oh, spoiler alerts! I should have spoiler alerted that bit. But yeah, so it gets tiring and it gets frustrating. And when they're talking about burnout, like superhero fatigue and Star Wars fatigue and all that stuff, I think ultimately, whatever, all the arguments about Disney getting too woke and all that and blah, 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 no, they're just telling bad stories. They're just telling bad stories. They're not putting them together. They need to go right back to fundamentals, get your 7 classic stories out, go back to your good old-fashioned hero's journey stuff and make good stories, Didn't Han come back as a semi-Force ghost? Yeah, probably. Like Ahsoka was so deeply embedded. I remember watching, I don't know if Connor's still here. If he's still here, it might be past his bedtime now. But I remember watching Ways of the Sith and Vern on the Vern Rants one Saturday night live stream. And Ways was like really getting into it and saying like, yeah, but what you don't understand is and this, that, and the other, and you need to, and this character's doing this because of that, and this character's doing this because of that. And if you've read this, you'll know that. And I was like, fuck me, you got to do 6 hours worth of like academic style research just to appreciate what you've just watched in a 35-minute episode of Ahsoka. It was so deeply like marinated in that stuff that it was like, Jesus, Anyway, there you go. Who got me started on this stuff? I hope I answered whatever the original question was that ignited this. Oh yeah, the droid decker. So yeah, no, not really. Looks cool, I suppose. I think that was the original question. All right, folks. Well, listen, it's 20 to midnight. I've gone way over my 1 hour time limit, 1 hour 40, but hopefully you enjoyed that additional little bit of banter at the end there. It's been a pleasure. as always, I hope nobody minded that I was a day late this week. I'll try and come back for Tuesday next week, back onto usual schedule. Oh, he's still here. Yeah, I mentioned you because I think you were actually on the very live stream I was talking about where Waze and Vern just went on a massive one about Ahsoka. But it's been a pleasure, as always. Thank you very much for coming out and watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget the like and all that stuff, because I forget to say that all the way through. I'm back again next Tuesday, hopefully. And keep your eyes open. Got a review coming probably by the weekend. And next week, I've got an extra video in the mix, the G.I. Joe Yojo June speculation one that I was talking about earlier on today. So I'd appreciate it if you guys took the time to take a look at those too. All right, take it easy, folks. I'm going to say end stream. And then it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to end stream? And I'm going to say, yes. All right. Nighty-night.